This is our lesson on blood, basically. The presentation is entitled Blood and the Lungs. We're going to do this in 2 sessions, so this video is about the blood section of this. Let me just take you back then to start. So again, we're starting here with the section of the syllabus that relates to blood, and you need to know the different components of the blood: plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells. You need to know what they do in each case. Oh, and the platelets, of course. Sorry, I forgot the platelets. So what they are, what they do, what's special about them, how are they adapted to their function, and being able to identify those types of blood cells in a diagram or a photograph. And we'll have an example of that later on here. So the 4 main components of the blood and their roles. And then we're going to look in our second session on this, how the blood interacts with the lungs to allow efficient gas exchange, and also how the structures within the lungs relate to their function. So the first task here, 10-minute starter. Thinking back to year 7 and 8, how many things can you list that are found in blood? Why blood is useful for respiration? And quickly take a look at what porphyria is and how that might relate to the picture on the right here. So 10 minutes, pause the video, do those things, and then start again. So the things that you would find in the blood: red blood cells, that's what RBC stands for here, white blood cells, WBC, platelets, plasma, antibodies, oxygen, carbon dioxide, of course, dissolved in the blood, glucose, the blood carries glucose around the body for respiration, possibly pathogens. You might find disease-causing organisms in there, bacteria, viruses, and sodium ions. What does it do? Well, it allows oxygen and glucose to be transported to respiring tissues, and then it allows CO2 to be removed, or it does remove CO2 from the respiring tissues. Porphyria then, well, if you looked it up, you'll have found that this disease causes symptoms: reactivity to light, skin blistering, discoloration, and is treated by blood transfusion, very much like vampires. So these myths often have some basis in truth, and perhaps that's where the idea of vampires came from. So components of blood: you have a 3-minute video here and then a 10-minute task. You're looking at including the names and diagrams of each blood component, including the function of each blood component, and any specialist features, how the blood cells are adapted to their function or whatever. So watch the video and then produce either a mind map or a fact sheet on those 4. So that's 13 minutes worth of work: video and mind mapping. Do that, stop the video, do that, and then start the video again to check your answer. So you might have a mind map a bit like this, and it would be good to have some pictures in your mind map too. You could do that with putting in a picture of a white blood cell here, a picture of a red blood cell here, that sort of thing. So here you have a mind map. You have this in your presentation, of course, so you can adapt yours to fill in any gaps that you might have. If you did a fact sheet, there aren't any facts here on the white blood cells. We've already done that in a previous lesson a little while ago when we were looking at diseases and the body's reaction to them. We looked at white blood cells, phagocytes and lymphocytes, you'll remember. So I haven't put that in here, But here are some facts on red blood cells and plasma that we hadn't talked about before. Bloodmobile. This is a rather irritating video, I think, on the function of blood. 2 minutes 20 seconds on the video, and then 10 minutes to do this task, which is looking at the video and preparing a poster advertising the services of the Bloodmobile, suitable for an audience of Year 9, Year 10 students, so GCSE students. And you have some keywords there to help you with that. So again, stop the video, this video, watch that video, and prepare that poster. And you have down here your grading criteria. So aim to be over here. Do as much of this as you can. So having done the poster, we have a true-false quiz here for 5 minutes. So work your way through those. And then we have a sample student answer, or several sample student answers. And what you need to do is to find and correct the spelling, punctuation, and grammar errors. There are 7 of them. And to find the science errors and add any missing information. So if we look at the questions, we have 2 marks here, but we've only made 1 point. So there's something missing there. So do that. Stop the video, do that, and then once you've done it, check your answers. So in checking your answers, a couple of minutes, and then we have a question for you here. This is a 10-mark question. You've got 10 marks for this, or 10 minutes for this, sorry. You have a view down a microscope, seeing different things in the blood, and you need to say what A, B, and C are and what they do. And then part B, red blood cells contain hemoglobin. Explain how this enables red blood cells to pick up oxygen from the alveoli in the lungs and release it to cells in other parts of the body. We haven't talked about the alveoli yet, but oxygen from the lungs, you could read that as being. So 10 minutes on that, stop the video, do the question, and then check your answers on the next slide. So, A is a white blood cell. You could have called it a leukocyte, a phagocyte, or lymphocyte. Those are 3 kinds of white blood cell. They make antitoxins, contain antibodies. They destroy or engulf or kill bacteria. Fighting infection, fighting disease is too vague. It needs to be precise. They destroy, engulf, kill. Don't say they eat, they don't eat. You could say they ingest. B are platelets, and what they do is to help with blood clotting. They do that by sticking together, but it's not enough. And whilst platelets are involved in scabbing, that's not what we want. C is plasma. It carries or transports digested food, waste products, hormones, carbon dioxide, platelets, any of those, sorry. Allows blood to flow. It is the liquid element of the blood, so if you didn't have that, it wouldn't flow. In B then, well, the oxygen, note oxygen in brackets, you don't need that, but in terms of making the answer make sense, oxygen diffuses. There is a combination of the oxygen with the hemoglobin, forming oxyhemoglobin. It's not so much absorption as combination with. This happens where the oxygen is in high concentration, and then where the oxygen is in low concentration, the oxyhemoglobin breaks down, releases the oxygen into the cells for respiration. So this then is a reminder of what we've been trying to achieve in this lesson. And there's the end.